Spoilers ahead, and welcome back to Venture Recaps. Today, we'll recap a 2017 South Korean fantasy action film titled Along with the Gods. At the beginning of the film, we can see Kim Jong-hong, a brave young firefighter who leaps from a tall burning building to save a little girl. After taking the full brunt of the impact, Kim quickly recovers and goes to check on the girl, who has been reunited with her parents. He then asks what her name is, but she doesn't reply. Instead, she leaves with her family, without even acknowledging him. Kim then senses something strange, a shift in the atmosphere. Everything looks the same, yet seems so different, so distant. After that, Kim hears someone call his name and turns around to see a man and a woman, both formally dressed and smiling cheerfully. Out of the corner of his eye, he notices a group of his fellow firefighters surrounding a body, and it turns out that it's his body. He stares in disbelief and begins to freak out. The man and woman approach him and introduce themselves as Haiwan and Diak Chun, two of the three guardians who will be guiding him through the 7 trials of the afterlife. They then tell him that he died on April 28, 2017, just in time. Kim then pleads with them to allow him one last time to see his mother while he is forcefully transported through a portal to the underworld. Outside the gates of the 7 trials, Kim is introduced to the third guardian, Kang Rim. Kang Rim is a well-respected guardian, as he has successfully guided 47 souls through the 7 trials in the past 1,000 years. Once they approached the gates, Deok Chun presented Kim's ticket into the trial of the 7 hells, and she was pleasantly surprised that it said he was a paragon, a person who lived a righteous life and died an honorable death. She then mentions that he is the first paragon in 422 years and also states that paragon has the highest chance of passing all 7 trials within the 49-day time limit, and if he does so, he can be reincarnated. Then they enter through the gates, and their first stop is the Hell of Murder. If Kim had unjustly killed someone or done something that indirectly led to the death of someone, he would be tried, found guilty, and imprisoned here to suffer half a century of torment. Kim then stands before the judge, King Byeonzong, as his charges are read aloud by the 2 insulting prosecutors of the underworld. They mention a colleague whom he had left behind in a burning building, injured and trapped. They then mention that he had enough time to return and rescue him, yet instead he left him there, and the building eventually collapsed and killed him. After that, the prosecutors then brought forward the charge of manslaughter, a sentence spanning 50 years in the Hell of Murder. Kang Rim then stands before the court as Kim's underworld attorney and begins his defense by replaying the incident in court. When Kim attempted to help his friend, they were interrupted by the screams of other survivors, who were injured and stuck within the building as well. The colleague then told Kim to help the others and come back for him after Kim got all the other people out of the building safely. After that, he returned for his friend, but it was too late. The fire had consumed the building, and it all came crashing down, killing his buddy. Kang Rim then tells the judge that after leaving his friend to help the survivors, Kim had saved 8 people's lives, 8 lives in return for 1, and that, as a noble deed, punishment would be unfair. King Byeonzong then agrees and clears Kim of the charge before praising him as a hero. The guardians then lead Kim to the Hell of Indolence, a beautiful heavenly landscape. But don't let the view fool you, as just beyond the waterfall reside all the doomed souls. A large spinning crusher tortures all those that dare to seek refuge on the only visible patch of land, and those who try to escape into the pristine water are met with the razor-sharp bite of vicious piranhas. Just before the waterfall rests Queen Chogang, where Kim must present all the hard work he's ever endured over his lifetime. To prove he wasn't lazy and arrogant, the Guardians then talked the Queen through all the selfless work Kim had endured throughout his time as a firefighter. The Queen is very impressed with everything Kim has done to benefit the lives of others. She then asks what inspired such great deeds, and Kim simply says he did it all for money. Angered by this response, the Queen says that since money was God to him, he worshipped the wrong God. After that, she instructs the prosecutors to lower Kim beyond the waterfall. As Kim gets closer to the edge, Kang Rim and Haewon jump in and try to help Kim. Kang Rim then pleads with the Queen to look at the life of Kim one more time. And this time he offers a different perspective, showing Queen Chogang that Kim's life was much harder than just his work as a firefighter. Apart from his usual day job, Kim worked various jobs at night and even looked for work on weekends without getting a single day of rest. Kim had undertaken all of this work to support his terminally ill mother and his younger brother, who was studying to become a Supreme Court judge. Kang Rim ends his defense by saying that had Kim not worked for his family, they wouldn't be alive today. The Queen then comes to her final verdict. She says that even though Kim worked for money, he did it for a selfless purpose, and for that reason, he's out. On their way to the next trial, the group is ambushed by dangerous 4-legged monsters of the Blade Forest of the underworld. When they manage to barely escape the forest, Ha-won then tells Kim that the monster's attack means that an immediate family member of his has died and become a vengeful spirit that are now roaming the earth, which is causing anomalies along his path on the trial. Kim is concerned that his mother may have passed away. Kang-rim tells them that the only way to end this is to find the body of the family member and burn it, which will destroy the spirit. After that, he makes his way to the realm of the living to find the deceased, while the other two guardians blindfold Kim so that the monsters can't see what he can see, and they lead him to the next trial, the Hell of Deceit. Here, Kim will be judged by Admiral Taesin on whatever lies he told and the impact they had. The prosecutors present the charge of forgery for the 98 fake letters that were all written by Kim to the children of his fallen colleagues. One specific case is brought forward, the dead colleague whom Kim failed to rescue. Jaein, his young daughter, got letters from Kim, who was pretending to be her father. In the letters, Kim tried to encourage and help Jaein. Kim then explains that she was only a little girl and he wanted to give her some comfort, but the prosecutors asked if he ever took into consideration the despair she would feel once she discovered the letters were fake. Kim is lost for words, which angers the admiral and prompts him to have his tongue removed. Deep-chun then defends Kim by bringing forth even more fake letters, these ones addressed to his mother. In these letters, Kim tells his mother of his wonderful family, his wife, his son, and his amazing life, all of which are lies as he was never married nor did he have any kids. Deep-chun states that if Kim hadn't written these letters to his mother while she was battling in the hospital, she may not have found the strength to fight and recover as she did. The prosecutors then ask once more about the despair his mother may suffer when she finds out it was all lies. But Deep-chun says that had he not written those letters in the first place, then those people may not have grown as much and moved on. The admiral is then shown how happy Kim's mom was when she read the letters and how the letters inspired the little girl, Jaein, to write back to her father and thank him for all of his encouraging words before moving on. The admiral then clears Kim of all charges and allows him to leave Earth. Kang-rim visits Kim's house, where he meets Kim's mother, a mute woman, and tells her that he came to pay his respects to Kim. When she closes the door to give him some privacy, Kang-rim confronts the spirit of Kim Soo-hong, Kim's brother, who had been hiding in the burning candle smoke. He then asks where he died, but the spirit escapes and an epic chase ensues. After failing to catch Kim's brother, the spirit Kang-rim contacts Kim and the guardians at the Hell of the Deceased and tells Kim that both his mom and brother are fine. While Kim rejoices, Kang-rim tells the other two guardians the truth about Kim's brother and says that it's best for the sake of the trials that Kim doesn't know. Kang-rim then resumes his mission to find and destroy the spirit while the group continues the journey to the next trial. Along the way, Kim tells Deep-chun about a rice cooker he was supposed to gift his mother before he died as thanks for all the delicious scorched rice she made him and his brother when they were kids. Also within the cooker, he had left one last letter in which he wrote the truth about how he had lied in the previous letters just to make her happy and proud and how he had missed her so much. After that, the group then traveled to the Hell of Injustice, a place where souls are punished for up to hundreds of years for refusing to help those in need in the living world. Fortunately, because Kim is a paragon, he gets a free pass through this hell without a trial. Back on Earth, Kang-rim goes to the military base where Kim's brother Soo-hong is stationed. He then finds out that Soo-hong has been labeled a deserter and the military is looking for him, but it's quite odd that he would desert given that he was only a few days away from being discharged. Kang-rim then pretends to be a commander who's investigating the desertion of Soo-hang. He then questions Lieutenant Park, who had placed Soo-hang on duty, and Kang-rim easily senses that he's hiding something. He then finds Private Dong-yeon, who was alone on duty with Soo-hong the night he disappeared. He then turns back in time to discover that Soo-hong was the only friend Dong-yeon had in the military, while everyone else would pick on him for his slow, quiet, and shy nature. Soo-hong would encourage Dong-yeon by singing with him one particular song he wrote about being in the military to help him through the tough times. Kang-rim then travels back to the night when Soo-hong went missing. That night, Dong-yeon was nervous and afraid, so he was playing with the safety of his rifle. He was scared that Soo-hang would soon be off duty and he wouldn't be there to deter his bullies. Soo-hong tells him that he'd come check up on him even after his discharge and that Lieutenant Park would look out for him as well. Right after they embrace, Soo-hang tells Dong-yeon to hold his rifle properly, and in trying to do so, he fires one round into Soo-hang's abdomen. Soo-hang then tells Dong-yeon to radio Lieutenant Park to him only. When Lieutenant Park rushes over, he decides not to report it and instead persuades Dong-yeon to help him hide the body, telling him it's what Soo-hang would have wanted. Kang-rim then notices that Soo-hang wasn't dead that night. Instead, the two of them killed him by burying him alive to cover up the incident. After finding the body, Kang-rim decides not to destroy it, but rather to save the soul of Soo-hang by helping him shed his vengeance. Back in the underworld, the carriage reminds Kim of when his little brother wanted to go in the cable car. After that, depiction tells him that she invades him, as the Guardians, who were also once mortals on Earth, are wiped of their memories of their past lives. Later, an argument started between depiction and Haiwan that led them to reveal to Kim that his brother is dead and that he is the vengeful spirit. Back on Earth, Kangrim follows a drunk Dongyeon into a club, where he spots Kim's brother's spirit trying to kill him. Another epic chase ensues with Kangrim, and he finally catches the soul of Soo-hang. He then pleads with Soo-hang to give up and come with him in order to help his brother along the trial. But to his surprise, Soo-hang hasn't seen his brother in 15 years since he ran away from the family, and he hates him. Upon hearing that, Kangrim was shocked and Soo-hang escapes. Later, Dongyeon then arrives at Kim's mom's house and throws something inside before running away. Kim's mother discovers that it's a map leading to Soo-hang's body, and Soo-hang also sees the map. Dongyeon then attempts to do the unthinkable to himself while Kangrim watches him. Soo-hang then appears behind Kangrim and pleads with him to save Dongyeon's life, and in return, he'll do whatever he asks. Kangrim reluctantly agrees while sternly stating that meddling in the world of the living will result in consequences along Kim's trial. Using Kangrim as his voice, Soo-hang first sings the song he wrote to prove it's him, as Dongyeon can only see Kangrim. Then he tells him that he has forgiven him and says that he should move on. Back in the underworld, Kim and the two Guardians go to the fifth trial, the Hell of Betrayal, where souls are punished for selfish betrayals by being trapped within a mirror and destroyed. Fortunately, Queen Maddie lets Kim pass without a trial, as he is a paragon of righteousness. To get to the next trial, the group must travel down a vacuum sinkhole, which leads to the Hell of Violence. Here, Kangrim's meddling in the living world takes effect, and the group falls hundreds of miles to their doom, or so they thought. Once Kangrim is done, Kim and the other two Guardians come to a halt and are presented in front of King Jin Wong in the Hell of Violence. Here, Kim's charge is for beating his younger brother, who was suffering from malnutrition, for no apparent reason. It was after this incident that he ran away from home and never apologized for what he did, and his brother never forgave him. The Guardians try to make their defense, but the king says no defense can be made because there is a clear victim, and Kim was never forgiven. He swiftly rushes to his verdict while the two Guardians try to get Kangrim to help. Kangrim then tells depiction to request a combined trial, but Haiwan is extremely reluctant to go along with this. Depiction then requests a combined time trial, which is granted. A combined trial means that the charges will be presented in the next court along with the charges of that particular trial. If the defendant is found guilty of all of the charges in the next court, then there will be additional punishments for the defendant, and his guardians will be stripped of their duties and all of the benefits of being guardians. The group then heads over to the next trial, the Hell of Filial Impiety, where souls are judged on how well they respected their parents. Before they reach the court, Kim confesses to the two Guardians that he wasn't a good son. His mom was dying of maternal illness, and they had nobody else. His brother and he were starving each day, and it was only a matter of time before they all suffered a terrible fate. So that night, 15 years ago, when he ran away from home, he tried to end their suffering. He then tried to kill his mother while she was asleep, but his brother had woken up and tried to stop him, so he beat him up and ran away out of guilt. Had he gone through with it, he was going to crush up all of the sleeping pills and put them in the food the next day, and both he and his brother were going to die. He never saw his mother or brother since then and only sent her letters. Upon hearing that, Haiwan is pissed. Back on Earth, Kangrim helps Soo-hang restore his soul, and Soo-hang sees his mother in the base and confronts them about her son. Since she can't talk, she has a message pleading with them to help her find her son on her chest. Lieutenant Park tries to stop her and pushes her away, which angers Soo-hang. Eventually, she shows Lieutenant Park the map, which infuriates him even more, and shoves her to the ground after taking that map from her. After that, she is then carried into an ambulance on a stretcher. Witnessing this, Soo-hang unleashes his vengeful spirit, and he conjures up a huge tornado in pursuit of Lieutenant Park. This affects the Nether Realm once more, and sand demons begin to attack Kim and the two Guardians. After Kangrim fails to convince Soo-hang to let Lieutenant Park go, Kangrim asks Haiwan to help him, which leads to a fierce fight between the two men, while Kim is slowly being swallowed by the ground. After Kangrim and Haiwan get Lieutenant Park to safety, Soo-hang then witnesses his brother being swallowed by the sand and decides to end his pursuit for vengeance and restores his soul. As soon as he does, the court for the final trial emerges before Kim, and King Yeonra, the Lord of the Underworld, reads out Kim's charge. He states that Kim tried to kill his mother 15 years ago, and for that reason, he will be sentenced. Depiction pleads with the king, mentioning that Kim's mother was asleep during the incident and unaware of it. So how can he be punished for a sin against his mother that he didn't even commit and she doesn't even know of? King Yeomra corrects her by revealing in the mirror of karma that Kim's mother did in fact know the entire time. She only pretended to be asleep when Kim was about to kill her. She cried as it broke her heart, but she knew that this would allow her children a better life, so she was willing to sacrifice herself for their sake. Upon finding out that his mother knew all this time, Kim falls to his knees and bursts into tears, pleading with King Yeomra to punish him as he deserves it. The prosecutors then read out all of the charges. As they do so, an earthquake interrupts them, and in the mirror of karma, we see Soo-hang enter his mother's dream while she is unconscious in the ambulance. He tells his mother that he has become a Supreme Court judge in the afterlife, and he then reminds her about the day Kim attempted to end their family. He tells her that even though Kim tried to kill them, he couldn't go through with it and ran away. But he didn't desert them. Instead, he stayed away from them out of guilt and worked like a slave his entire life to support them. Had he not done so, they would be dead anyway. Soo-hang then forgives his brother and hugs his mom, and for the first time he hears her speak. She calls his name and tries to comfort him. She tells him that all of it was her fault and that none of that would have happened if she had been a better mother. Upon hearing this, King Yeomra decides that there are no charges. He then continued by saying that a sin forgiven in the living world cannot be punished in the underworld. And so King Yeomra instructs that upon his arrival through the heavenly gates, Kim can be reincarnated immediately. Kim thanks depiction before he leaves in the living world. In the last scene of the movie, we can see Kang Rim doing one last thing before leaving. He delivers the rice cooker to Kim's mom at the hospital. When Kim's mother is back at home, she opens it and finds his letter. She reads it and finds herself having a huge smile on her face, indicating that she is now happy and ready to move on. Thank you for watching, and remember to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you want to watch more videos like this.